Hello, hello, and welcome to the Cinema Slice. My name is Tony,
And I'm Chris.
and today we're talking about the movies that are specifically about music and our top choices, our top three, each of our top threes. Music. How important is music to movies, and especially how is it important to for movies about music? What do you think?
Right, music, as I said last time we were on the show, music, animals, and food, right? Those three things are pretty much universal things that every person on this earth has some kind of strong bond to, right? We all need food to live. We all enjoy hearing good music, and most people like pets, right, of some kind. So with music being such a binder that it is, especially when it comes to a visual piece, right, or even a silent piece, right, like back in the day, like you mentioned, there are ways that music is able to transfer messages, to relay them, to carry them. And so for music and for movies to kind of have that intertwined relationship, super important.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that we have two different mediums being put together shows that it's important in everyday human life.
Fact.
That music fans and movie fans can come together and appreciate something magical together. Just a list of different types of movies and the movies that we're going to be talking about. There are things called biopics, right? Movies about actual musicians that exist, such as Ray or Walk the Line, Sid and Nancy, La Bamba,
Walk hard.
Walk Hard.
Dewey Cox.
That's a parody satire of Walk the Line. And Straight Outta Compton, there's also like your fictional movie stories, something like Almost Famous, Whiplash, Star is Born, The Blues Brothers.
Great movie.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's also films like actual documentaries about the band or the group. I think of like Michael Jackson's "This Is It" or the Beatles Get Back.
I was going to say the Eagles, yeah.
The Metallica Some Kind of Monster. And then there's obviously also like musicals based around musicians. La La Land and Purple Rain, Moulin Rouge. Bands like or movies like that. Just and that's what we're focusing on. We each chose a in particular list of films, and I am not seeing it. Talk about music while I do this.
Okay, go ahead. Well, again, look, right? So I've got quite a bit of experience, right, in and around music as the medium. So, I was in choir for 8 years between elementary school and high school. So, when it comes to music, I definitely love to sing. Definitely am not shy when it comes to going out and doing karaoke. Some of our coworkers could easily cement that statement.
I'm actually surprised that I don't think the times that we've hung out, we went to karaoke, that we should have done a duet together.
We should have. We definitely could have killed it. We can always do that in the future. Right. So again, right. So singing, I've sang and been in choir for a long time, and then in a quote past life before television, I was a country music DJ for 2 years.
Look at you.
Yeah, right. So I was the midday guy back home in Sebring at OJ 99.1, and so I'd fill in there, and I would talk about the music and the artist and all that kind of stuff. So again, music, right? Music has a great power to it, and one way that, especially an instrumental piece of music, has power is, as we know, when you think of different classic movies, right? Like Jaws, you can never think of Jaws without the dun dun dun, right? Or when it comes to television and how music, moves pieces along, whether it's a serious drama sitcom like a cop or a firefighter or a hospital show, right? The music is always very serious, right? The intensity is always ramped up by that. And then sometimes it's a subtle intensity that really strikes a chord with you, especially if you've ever watched college football's Game Day on ESPN. That show has been around for 30 years now. And the hallmark of that show, right, isn't just the fact that it goes from campus to campus, being able to, show you, what it's like to be here at this big game in Columbus or Gainesville or Columbia or wherever it is. But they always, always have a reporter on there. And for a long time, it was either Tom Rinaldi or Gene Wachowski. Those two guys are synonymous with great storytelling because, they always do these in-depth pieces that generally, of course, involve a major form of adversity or whatever it is. And throughout the piece, whether it's a piece about this athlete dealing with, let's say a sibling, who's maybe in some way impaired or autistic or whatever, or dealing with a death, the music they choose to play at the certain times of those pieces, right? It really creates just this incredible, eviction of emotion. And that's what's so great about the way music can be used in so many different ways, from lightheartedness to serious intensity to, of course, portraying danger and terrifying circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely. My own musical background, I grew up with my parents playing music in the house, and that led to me learning how to play the piano, the saxophone, the guitar, and eventually starting my own band. Also playing in band with a saxophone and jazz band, and have been in and out of several bands, and currently in one right now. We're about to go into the recording studio.
Okay. Of the three instruments you can play, favorite one?
I mean, the guitar is easily the coolest and gets the chicks.
I don't know, man. If you listen. I know, not Bad Company, but what's the British band I'm thinking of? Money Over Nothing, Chicks for Free. Dire Straits. Look, I know Dire Straits definitely makes the guitar cool, and so do others. But man, listen, true story, and this is a theory that you can test, but it's true. Pick. Okay. Oops, sorry, I missed my finger. Okay, pick a number one hit song that featured a saxophone solo, and guess what? Everybody likes it.
I'm not denying it.
True story. From Bad to the Bone, by George Thorogood to Don Williams. That's the thing about love. Pick any number one hit that's ever been made with a saxophone solo in it. Everybody loves that song. Dude, now you can't find somebody who's like, oh, I don't like this song. Like, nah, saxophone solo killed it. That's clutch.
Okay, well, nice to know that you're a Kenny G fan. And
let's not go that far. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, it was Marty McFly that inspired me to play the guitar. It was Lisa Simpson that influenced me to play the saxophone.
There you go.
But honestly, I'm most proficient with the piano. So I don't know who influenced me. It was more so forced upon me.
Not surprised.
But then, it's the instrument I understand the most. It's the instrument that I can speak with.
I was going to say, I feel like of all the instruments, like, now, again, I'd probably say include the violin in there, but for sure, guitar, saxophone, piano, and violin. I think, to me, those four instruments do the best job of really conveying human emotion through a musical medium. I think those four do the best at that, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that would eventually inspire bands and musicians to do their thing, and then eventually they get their own movie, and we get to hear their life story. And we're going to go through, Chris, your picks here, and you gave me a movie I literally watched yesterday, and that movie is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yes.
Talk to me about Bohemian Rhapsody.
All right, so this movie and the next movie after it are very similar because they actually both came out in the exact same year.
Yeah.
But everybody knows, right, that Freddie Mercury, the lead man of Queen, the brand, right, this movie is about Queen, right, and their rise from just these regular British dudes to, right, the global phenomenon that they were. And what I love so much about it is that this movie, of course, shares all the iconic music, right? Lets the audience and the newer age audience fall in love with it. Again, as a millennial, Queen was huge in the 70s and 80s. So when I came along in 88, never heard of them. And then as I got older, right, you see it, of course, and the Mighty Ducks had Queen music in it. There's so many different games or movies or shows that use it. And to see this, right, this quote true story, if you will, right, of how this band came together, the tough times that they went through, but the genius, the architect that was Freddie Mercury, right, to push through and say, hey, look, you record producers might think this thing called Bohemian Rhapsody is insane and this opera rock isn't going to work. Well, guess what? Every person, right, that's our age, older and younger than us, whenever you hear Bohemian Rhapsody, if you know somebody that doesn't like to do the parts of Galileo, they're not your friend, okay? They're a phony. They're a communist, okay? So again, right? So to me, this movie was so great because again, you got to relive the music and you got to really learn a lot about, again, right, some of those scenes where, you know, they do a big production and they're said, look, every band does this. You're doing this all lip sync. This is not real.
Yeah.
And they all said, no. We're going to perform from now on, never like this again. So again, these kind of movies are great because everybody in the world knows about them. And then when you see most of it, you're like, all right, maybe half truth, maybe half made up, but either way, it's fun for the audience to get to relive these magical musical moments, as my old choir director used to call them.
I think one of the biggest, like the most fun things that happens is seeing like the origins of the stories.
Yes.
The origins of the songs in themselves. Where does Another One Bites the Dust, come from? Where and obviously Bohemian Rhapsody throughout the whole movie, he's just slowly kind of working on it. It's in his head. He hasn't quite figured it out until he does, and it's just kind of neat of just, giving you a little hint of what's to come. And then obviously, seeing everybody becoming who they are and being more confident in themselves or overcoming adversity, whatever the case is. I mean, Queen's one of my favorite bands, and this movie was really, really solid. Originally supposed to have Sacha Baron Cohen. Borat was going to play Freddie Mercury.
Wow.
But he and the rest of Queen could not come to an agreement in terms of how the creative direction would go. Sasha really wanted to talk about Freddie and all of his crazy parties and, just pretty much his life and everything.
I was gonna say, right? I mean, obviously, this movie was half about the band, half about Freddie Mercury,
right?
Which I think was rightfully so. But yeah, that's where I'm glad they didn't go off that part of the cliff.
Yes,
because like the Elton John movie, there was already enough. They gave you enough to obviously fill in the rest of the blank space, if you will, about his life, his sexual life and stuff. So I'm glad they addressed it, but didn't make that a full part of the movie per se.
Right. And honestly, all of his ideas they did not like, and so they decided to split ways. And then Rami Malek coming in and just absolutely killing it. Though he does not look like Freddie. I mean, his performance, especially since they do a shot for shot of Live Aid, so cool.
I was going to say that is by far. I mean, that's it. Like that was the part of the movie where you're like, wow, is that Freddie reincarnated? Because it looks like that's Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
And I think the coolest part about it, right, is that obviously, when he walks out of the clinic. Right, and you understand that, of course, he hasn't been with us for a very long time. When he goes out the doors to do Live Aid, right, he's on the stage and they have him stand there, right, in a pre-Michael Jackson-esque Super Bowl moment, just standing there, soaking it in. You're thinking to yourself, this man knows his time is limited. Like he actually it gives you such a realistic stance of, man, if that was me, I would do that too. I would just stand there and I would soak it up and I would try to get everything I had out of it and give everything I have to it, because this is like your hallmark performance that people might say, man, he went out short before his time, but the way he did it, grand slam.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey-oh.
No.
Well, you talked about Elton John just a bit ago, and that just so happens to be your next pick.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's you and I were talking yesterday about this. These two movies came out 2 months apart, a month apart from each other, which was so weird.
Yeah.
And again, it's very similar timeline. They both start at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. You meet Elton John when he bursts through the doors in this orange cockatoo-looking suit, and he sits down. And he's like, "I'm Elton John, and I've taken every drug, and I've done everything, and blah blah blah." And again, then you learn they both came from rough backgrounds, terrible homes, but they both had this gift, right? For Freddie, it was his voice and his ability to just have this operatic range. For Elton John, it was this guy who was, helped to be trained classically, but also could just sit at a piano and just create music out of his thoughts, and everything just flowed.
Yeah.
And right, and then he meets Bernie, and you find again, and you see the whole situation play out with him, fighting the stereotypes, giving into his real sexuality, all this stuff. And again, right, but the fun part is you get to learn the backstory about how he came to America, and, how his song "This Is Your Song" became such a big hit. And again, they're so fun to learn the behind the scenes, right? And the fact that you had Queen as the band, minus Freddie, get to really tell a true story. And you let John oversee production of how this would go. Then you can look at those movies and say, okay, it wasn't just anybody's interpretation. It was based upon the person or the people that played a seminal part in the moment, in their actual story. So you go, hey, man, the way you guys told the story, that's the way we think about it, and that's the way we perceived it.
Yeah, I mean, in the past, we would get these biopics, and it was usually after the artist would die, right? I think of like Selena or something like that, right? And so we don't really get the full story until it's after the fact. I think what's cool about these two films in particular is that, most of the bandmates or Elton John is obviously still alive and are actually able to oversee and be like, no, like this is what happened, and so on and so forth, and like get rid of all the rumors and speculations that only one person, the artists themselves, would know. So it's really cool to be able to again see the actual story behind the people.
And one thing I'll say that, right, again, a line from that movie from Rocket Man that I liked a lot, right, that really should hit home with you if you're ever somebody that thinks about how you're trying to make it, right, or what could it take to break through. It's when Elton and Bernie walk in that recording studio at first, right, or the producer's office, and they're sitting there, and he's like, okay, boys, what do you want to play? What do you want to sing for me or whatever? And at that time, I believe the big song everybody kept walking in to try to perform was, I think, Glenn Campbell's Southern Nights, if I'm correct, or something like that. And the producer's like, God, he's like, anything but that bloody song. And they're like, ooh, crap, like that's what we're going to sing. And he kind of looks, he leans in and goes, boys, you come back here and you bring me a song. I want a song that all the old men at the pubs are gonna sing, right? And the way he laid it out was perfect, because it is. If you're somebody that's gonna be a comedian or a singer or some kind of performance-based art, you have to be able to connect with such a wide range of people, and especially a singer, where your music hopefully can transcend an age range or a gap or just hit home. And that kind of moment made me go, yeah, like that's it. Like if you walk in this door and you think that you're so cool that the world should know about you, you gotta hit the home run for the first pitch.
Yeah, that's a part of the job. If you want to be in the spotlight, you have to naturally have the charisma, be able to control a room when you come in. And I mean, you see it with Freddie, you see it with Elton John, and their portrayals there. So yeah, I mean, even like the both of us, obviously, you especially being on-air talent, and you have to have a little bit of something of like why we would want to watch you, and listen to you here. And me as a somewhat of a newcomer onto the front of the camera scenes, it's something that I try to develop, but I also kind of have a knack of a little bit of charisma that was worthy enough for people to be like, yeah, well, let's put this guy in front of the camera as well. And like I said before, being in a band, I'm also the singer of the band, so I also have I also have to be in the front, and everything like that. So anyway, you have a third pick here, which a movie I recall seeing trailers and whatnot, but have never seen. So this is very much going to be it was already your pick. So tell me about why I should watch Mr. Holland's Opus.
Okay, right. So this is my opus per se on this particular program. All right, so 1995. I remember my mom watching this a couple times from Blockbuster. Right, didn't really watch it with her because I was like 7 years old, 7 or 8. Okay, so Mr. Holland's Opus, great movie again, and great storyline, because kind of like the original start of both those previous movies. So Mr. Holland's Opus, technically, it starts out in 1965, and Mr. Holland is a man played by Richard Dreyfuss, the late Richard Dreyfuss, right? No, sorry, I'm thinking of Richard Marx, not Richard Dreyfuss. Right, but Richard Dreyfuss. So 1965 is when he takes over this teaching job at a high school, right, for music. But of course, he has grander plans to go on and be a famous composer, right, and conduct this massive symphony he's working on years and years and years. Well, 30 years goes by. So we fast forward to 1995, right? He's, of course, near the end of his career there. And of course, as you go through this movie, you see the struggle with him. And one of the big struggles is that his son, who he loves, is deaf. Right, so that creates a bit of adversity for him because, of course, his life revolves around sound and the way it impacts us and moves us. So this movie is a bit of a musical in some senses.
Yeah.
But again, this movie is about a man learning the power of teaching, the impact that passing it on and making it better for the next has on every generation ahead of you. And so it's a really good story again that teaches you about what it means to look at the bigger picture when it comes to impact, rather than what my impact in my own selfish way is.
Yeah.
And so one of the coolest parts is, again, for 30 years, he'd been working on this, this giant composition, this great score that he was hoping to perform someday in front of a big crowd, right at the New York Symphony. Well, at the end of the movie, after this 30 years had passed by, and he's near the end of his career, you have pretty much all, or a great smattering of all his former students get together, including the governor of his state, and they all come together and they all perform his opus for him, and he gets to direct it. Hence why it's called Mr. Holland's Opus.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who say, hey, we know you've been working on this.
Yeah.
We've learned it, and now you get to do it, and it's with us.
Yeah.
So like I said, it really is a great movie that I know got a lot of critical acclaim.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And obviously, now that we're actually talking about movies about music and not like real life people, right? Because I assume Mr. Holland is not a real person.
No, he's not.
But like a cool story of just the appreciation of music.
Yes.
The love of music and how powerful it can be. And then just, building a story around that, that's what I really like about this in particular topic is that, there's very few movies that I could think of that are about music that I have not liked. Like they're just there's just so much more love and care about that topic, I suppose.
Yes.
So yeah, Mr. Holland's Opus. Cool.
Mr. Holland's Opus.
Well, I've got a top 3 as well.
Okay.
And my first pick is 8 Mile.
Oh, great choice. Great generational relevancy there.
Absolutely. I wanted something a little bit more modern.
Okay.
Though it's been a minute that 8 Mile's been out, but it's one of those films where you don't really expect it to, Eminem's coming out with a movie, and this is also at the height of his
Kim
controversy.
Basinger, wow, Brittany Murphy, sheesh.
Yeah. This movie was so surprisingly good to me of just
it was great.
The struggle of being a musician, the struggle of having your moment, when it's there, and obviously the song.
If you had one shot.
Yeah. Mom's Spaghetti.
Knees weak, arms ahead.
Just the film. I love the way that it's shot. I love the storyline with B Rabbit and him struggling in the beginning, not being able to perform, and then going through all this hardship just to come back and get a second chance and absolutely nails it. I still continually go back on YouTube to watch the final rap battles.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
It's so good. Yeah. If you haven't seen it, if you're not like an Eminem fan, it doesn't even matter. Like this movie holds its own.
Yes.
Because it's such a great story just about struggle of a musician and being poor and being just life is just on you.
Yeah,
and just finding that little thing that the glimmer of hope that you hold on to in life, your dream, and being able to hold it and have it for that moment. It's such a good movie, such a great song. Lose Yourself as well. So that's my number 3 pick. Any other thoughts? I can move on.
No, just great choice. Like And that's the thing. To think of where Eminem is today, right? I mean, highly regarded through most of the rap community as one of the greatest rappers of all time. I mean, just the ability to freestyle off the top of his head and just either eviscerate you or make it. I mean, everything he does is incredibly genius. But to know, right, through this movie, through his own true acknowledgement that, yeah, when he started out, he's kind of like a lot of great comics. He bombed. He was terrible between the nerves and just the lack of reps, the lack of ability, lack of confidence. He was terrible. And now to think that he's a guy that we have seen put so many other adversarial rappers in a body bag.
Yeah.
Right. And also the fact that, you hear 50 Cent say, hey, if there's one dude you don't ever mess with on the rap stage, it's Em.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Eminem proves that, hey, you can struggle, you can grind, you can take a lot of it on the chin. But if you keep coming back because you got the knack for it and you work and you hone and you refine,
Yeah.
it's amazing what you can do when you succeed and you struggle and you make it out of the grind. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So you mentioned Walk Hard earlier.
Yes. Great movie.
Fantastic movie. A satire parody of all of the early biopics, especially.
Yes.
Of just the weird stories
Hard,
and just
hard.
putting it all together and making their own film. I would have put it up in my next movie list here. However, there is one in particular movie that I think every musician who has ever been in a band should watch because it fits it so perfectly of just the struggles of being in a band. And that movie is Spinal Tap.
Ah, yes. Great choice.
Spinal Tap, the band and the movie, is just absolutely fantastic in terms of, man, there's the glamour of being a big band playing on stage for a group of people who absolutely love you, and then maybe the next week you play another gig and you're just playing for your girlfriend or or the other band's girlfriends that are there waiting for their band. It's the struggle of coming up with in particular songs and it not going over well with their reviews of Shark Sandwich being known as Bleep Sandwich. And just the struggles of also being in a band and having the different personalities clashing with each other, and ultimately it's still the love of the music and everything. So I'm super excited for the sequel. I know these movies that do a sequel way too late, it might end up being an absolutely terrible movie, but I can't wait to watch it just to see these three guys back again. Because and I don't know if you're familiar with the movie, but I know a lot of people have heard of the phrase "turn it up to 11."
Yes.
That is from this movie, and you have to watch it in context to see why they turn it up to 11. But yeah, it's one of those things where a lot of younger people haven't seen this film, and they absolutely should. And especially if you're in a band and you haven't seen this movie, watch it with your band because you guys will have a great time.
Okay, so I know the phrase "turn it up to 11," and I heard that actually, but this is over a decade ago. One of my favorite comedies of all time. Right in the sweet spot between like the Superbad and like the 2014, 2015 shift in comedy, I guess you call it. Role Models. Role Models with Paul Rudd, Sean William Scott, one of my favorite movies.
Great movie.
Right? McLovin is one of the key guys in there. And right at the end, right when they're going to go fight the battle, right, and go save the day per se. My favorite part when Augie, McLovin's character, he's like, we're going to turn this up to 11. And I was like, I know that phrase, but I don't know where from.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Spinal Tap.
Some say you look like a young Marvin Hamlish. Who the hell is Marvin Hamlish? Great actor. Oh, it really is. Great. So funny.
The later half of that movie, because Sean William Scott that really likes Kiss, and that's why they dress up like the characters.
Love Gun, always an underrated banger by them.
Gun.
God, great song.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah, so
Such a funny movie.
if you've never seen Spinal Tap, it is definitely worth the watch. It is absolutely silly. It kind of fits the like Naked Gun meets a rock and actually they might be the first movie or medium that ever did mockumentary.
Okay.
So
So they kind of set the table for everything.
yeah, you wouldn't have The Office, you wouldn't have Parks and Rec, or any show which there's a scene happening and then they adjust the camera and talk to the
Community,
camera,
stuff like that. Yeah.
like this movie might have been the very first to, because it's shot like a documentary. It's introduced as a documentary, and they call it a rockumentary. However, it's more so a mockumentary of
That's
a
cool.
rockumentary.
I'll have to watch
about
that
it.
then. I'll
Yeah,
have to watch that.
I think you'll absolutely like it.
Okay.
And then my final pick is the absolute movie that I will, if it's on, I'm dropping that remote. I will watch it because I love the ending to this film.
Okay.
And it encapsulates one of my favorite musicians as well, taking the lead. And that movie is School of Rock.
Oh, great choice. Great choice.
It is introducing rock music to these preppy kids,
Yes.
right? And you as the viewer also get to learn a little bit of history of sticking it to the man.
That's right.
And
Fight the power.
fight the power, and watching these very, very uptight people loosen up and be more rebellious, and it's fun seeing the kids transform, and then ultimately at the end, the parents transform, because there's just, again, it's a love of music and the appreciation that music, the most powerful thing about it is that no matter what, it will always bring people together.
Always.
It is,
especially when it jams or rocks in this case.
yes. It has no language barrier. Like, you can hear a song from another language, but if the melody, if it bops, you're connected with the people who are fans there.
Fact.
No matter what. And that's what I think is so great about this in particular film is, Jack Black.
Obviously funny. I mean, he played the perfect role in this as that loser dude, right? Who's middle-aged guy, right? Trying to hang on to this rock and roll dream that's going absolutely nowhere, right? And then, as you said, he gets this band of kids together illegally, but he gets his kids together, right, at this preppy school, and then boom, it's like, hey, you guys know you can have some fun, right? And that's the best part, is that they each part played their role so well. He's this goofy dude who's just like, no, man, you want to play with some feeling and just get that thing right there. Right. Great movie, great pick.
Yeah. Man, I just, there's so many scenes that I love and quote from the movie. Like, I think of whenever he talks to the girl with the cello. And it's like, all you got to do is turn it to the side and cello, you've got a bass. And then giving out everybody homework, and the homework is listening to the albums of various rock bands and stuff.
So cool.
You learn. Yeah, it's just, Jack Black is just perfect for that in particular role. Obviously, then there are businesses called School of Rock with that, very much that same emphasis of we'll teach you rock. If you want to learn guitar, if you want to learn whatever, you can go to these places. I think we even had one, if not still have one here in Springfield as well. That was that's my number one pick. Like I said, every time I see it, I'm like, all right, I'm watching this. I think all the characters do just a fantastic job, and it is probably my favorite Jack Black film. So
it's a good choice. I will say, right, when I look at, kind of side topic here, when I look at Joaquin Phoenix, I understand why he went insane. I understand why that guy went off the reservation, because look, he should have won the Academy Award for best not assistant actor. What's the not leading actor, but
Supporting.
Thank you, supporting. He should have won Academy Award for supporting actor for his role as that jerk prince, emperor in Gladiator,
yeah.
and he definitely should have won it for Walk the Line by Johnny Cash. Both of those roles. He played incredible roles that made you believe he was Johnny Cash, or he was this, evil, divisive, emperor, that took the throne illegally.
Yeah.
That movie, Walk the Line, great movie. Again, he and Reese Witherspoon, they made you believe they were really John and June Cash. I mean, that, his issue with the pills and the music. Again, I don't know how they looked over him. But I understand why he went off the reservation like he did, making phones about, making love to his phone and all that random jazz, or doing Joker. I'm like, bro, you got some evil demons inside your head, and I understand why now. You got robbed twice of an Oscar.
Well, I mean, he's an artist and really into doing that kind of stuff. Like, I thought you were leading towards whenever he decided to become a rapper and. What you do?
I have no idea. I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
If you want to see like really, really weird Joaquin, but like it's interesting, he developed a character and wanted to see. The movie is about celebrity and celebrity life, and he decided that he announced publicly that he's going to quit acting and become a musician, and then reveals that he's going to rap, and. He famously goes on to David Letterman and is acting weird. Like he doesn't want to talk about the film that the last film he just did. He just wants to talk about his music. And Dave's just like, okay. And so they try to talk about it and, he doesn't talk about it. And it's like super, super awkward. So he pretty much tanks this interview and then goes around the country and does concerts and records it and everything. Oh, wow, it's in my face. And ultimately it's eventually revealed that, like this wasn't a publicity stunt. It wasn't Joaquin going absolutely nuts. It was for a film to see how a celebrity could go, from, being known as one of the best, this generation's best, to immediately drop to being, deemed as, absolutely nuts. And I mean, I thought that's why you were saying he was nuts because he, chooses these films.
I had no idea.
Yeah, no. I mean, unfortunately for that work, I don't think he got any accolades of just like, well, that was just annoying. Like he went back to David Letterman and Letterman's like, I didn't know. Like, honestly, I think you owe me money for being in this movie unintentionally. But anyway, Joaquin Phoenix is a great actor and has had some ups and downs for sure, and they're usually pretty high ups and downs. And that's art, baby. That's art.
That's art, baby.
Yeah.
Stay off drugs, kids. Stay in school.
All right. Well, that's our episode about the top movies about music. We kind of decided that we might stick around with the whole music theme for the next couple episodes, we should have a pretty interesting one for you guys next week. Any final thoughts there, Chris?
Nope. We'll see you next time, and I think you'll really like that topic too.
All right. We'll see you next week. This has been the Cinema Slice.